I promised you last week I'm going to pass out these cards. Here's the problem I've got. I've already given away 1,000 in English, almost, and I have very few English left. So I feel bad, but I'll have them next week, more of them. And Noel is going to take the Spanish. So if you can read Spanish comfortably, I'd like you to raise your hand, and Noel will give you one of these cards if you like one, okay? And you're going to start in the back. I want to make sure the young people have them. Are you going to be here next weekend? Girls, come here. Right? These people need one real fast. All right. And the rest, anyone who's here next weekend, I'll give you in English. And Noel is in Spanish. Make sure you grab him if you want one in Spanish. All right? Now, what this is a process of prayer. It says the prayer process, but it's a prayer process. There's many processes. What it isn't is a prayer. Now, our own patron, Bernard, wrote a lot of prayers. One of the most famous is the Memorare. The Memorare. It's a beautiful prayer. And when we say prayers, we're saying the prayers that someone else wrote. Even Jesus, he didn't write it, but he taught us one. Our Father who art in heaven, blah, 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 blah. Those are the words of Jesus. We say it, it's beautiful. We say the Memorare, it's beautiful. But when you say other people's prayers, even though they may make you feel good and they're beautiful, they inspire, they're not your own words. Now imagine, can I use you as an example? Let's say she's my girlfriend, okay? We're both the same age. I'm just a little punk kid. And I fall in love with this girl, so I want to tell her how much I love her. So I say, girlfriend, I want to tell you how much I love you. So I say, but just a second. I go get this book off my shelf. Beautiful Words to the People You Love, it's called. So I say, 1 second. I think it's page 24. Oh, no, it's 25. And it has a little blank space for the name. I say, what's your first name? Jean? Jean? And then I read, I love you more than all the stars in the heavens and the beautiful brook that falls over the stones. And I love you. And I'm reading these words in a book. And she says, well, they're pretty, but what's in your heart? Well, I'm telling you, these words that someone else wrote. How crazy is that? Even if someone say, Jean, I love you so much. I can't even find the words. I'm so stupid, but I just love you. She knows that's coming from my own heart. So when we talk to God, we want to pick up a book. Remember, we start reading these prayers, and they're beautiful. I'm not knocking them. But we got to do something more than that. Pray from the heart. So this wonderful process that Matthew Kelly put together, it's in one of his books. He calls it the prayer process. Told you about it last week. And this is my challenge. I promised you this, and I'll repeat it next week for the ones who get the card next week. I'm asking if everybody who takes one would be willing to commit 5 minutes a day. Every 24 hours, you'll do 5 minutes to reflect on your last 24 hours. Okay? Just 5 minutes. Now, if you're daring, go for 10. But I don't want to push that. Just at least 5. And if you're daring, 10. And there's 7 steps. The last step is pray the Our Father, just to conclude it with Jesus' prayer. The first one is just start with some gratitude. Your own words. You say, God, I'm just so grateful to be alive. I walked into church. I'll walk out. I can see. I can eat and smell. I hear. I've got friends around me. I'm really grateful, God. Thank you for all that. And the second one is to talk about your awareness. When have I been my best, the wheat? And when have I been my worst, the weeds? So this morning on the way, anybody here, brother and sister? Any brothers and sisters here? Oh, you too? Okay, so on the way over, Dad gave him a nice candy bar, and it's your favorite kind. You say, oh, can I have a bite? No, it's mine. That's what you call a weed. W-E-E-D. That's not your best self. But if he said instead, here, a bite, here, have half. Oh, thank you. That's wheat. And we all have that in our life. Last 24 hours, we should be able to find all kinds of weeds in wheat. And it's nice to become aware of that and talk to God about it. Say, God, I wasn't my best for a few times. A little ashamed, but whatever, here. And then the significant moments. You heard your mom or dad on the phone and they said, what? You what? And you say, oh, something's wrong. And then way over in the car, you hear him saying, your Uncle Joe, he lost the house. Your Aunt Mary, she's got cancer. These are significant moments, and when we become aware of them, Don't we want to talk to God about them? God, this is awful. My family's hurting. What do I do, God? How do I respond? Then we move to that place aware of all this stuff and we say, God, it's time. I need to ask for some forgiveness for some stuff in my life in the last 24 hours. I know I need to ask for some forgiveness to move on. And I ask for your peace. And then in the fifth step, he titles it Freedom. Speak with God about how He's inviting you to become more. Now, how can you possibly know how God is inviting you unless you ask Him, how are you inviting me, God? Don't tell God what you need. Say, God, what do you think I need? Don't tell God what you want to do with your life. Say, God, what do you think I should do with my life? Don't tell God who you think you should say you're sorry to. You ask God, are there some people I need to apologize to? What do you think? Because the moment you ask the question, you open your spirit, a place in you where there's listening going on now. You didn't state the problem, you asked, and you wait for something to come up inside you. It really works. And then last, before you pray to our Father, in this 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're daring, but at least 5 minutes, you say, God, I want to pray for a few other people. So you pray for a friend, you pray for an enemy, you pray for peace in the world, you pray for the sick, you pray for people in jail, you pray for people with AIDS, you pray for specific people that you know could use prayer, and you just want to lift them up deep in your spirit a little bit. So 5 minutes every 24 hours, 10 minutes if you're daring, and I guarantee you, I'll put $100 on it just for the people of this mess. $100. If I do this all 5 masses, I'm in for $500. I say those who do it will be changed. How can you not be? How can you not be changed if you stand, sit, lie down before God and talk about your life? Open up your spirit. Let Him in. Welcome Him in to what's going on. How can you not be changed? Matthew Kelly loves to say, if you could get 1% of your parish each year to do this, you would begin to see rapidly a complete change of the parish, and I believe it. I believe it. So next week I'll get another 1,000 cards. I'm delighted that we ran out. I'm delighted. This is a good sign. This is hope. This is the planting of wheat with a T. And if the majority of the parish could spend 5 minutes, 10 if you're daring, every 24 hours to look at the last 24 hours and talk it over with God. Let Him in. I'm pretty sure what we heard last week will be fulfilled. That we would find fruitfulness happening at 30, 60, 100-fold.